All right, welcome to the Run and Gun info session. I'm Joel, one of the co-directors of Run and Gun. Sasha is also here. Say hi, Sasha.
Hello.
And we're just gonna kind of just go over all the basic info, but also if anyone has any questions, we can answer all of those today. Has anyone here never participated in Run and Gun? Okay, we got it. So perfect, perfect. I mean, this is really kind of our intention is to just make sure, because a lot of people have done it so many times that in our launch session, we just want to keep that a little bit more brief and go into a little bit more detail here. So, yeah, we're going to go into the rules and what to expect this year. And in our, once again, I feel like we just say this every year. It's our biggest run and gun ever. And we have no idea how it's gotten so big, but God help us all. Let's jump into the rules. Basically, for those who don't know the premise of this competition, on June 9th at 6 p.m., we have a meeting on YouTube Live.
Joel, do you want to pull up? Sorry, I can't share screen. Do you want to pull up the website so that we can have a visual of everything alongside?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Here we go. That everyone's seeing that sweet, sweet website. Oh! All right, I forgot I had my soundboard here. Be prepared. Okay, so basically at 6 p.m. on Friday, June 9th, we are going to have a YouTube live meeting. And at that point, we are going to announce the surprise elements for this year. And then after that meeting, you will have till 7 o'clock on Sunday to hand in your film 48 hours later. That includes those elements.
Yeah, so the surprise elements, I was just say for people who don't know, are the surprise elements are like objects, line of dialogue, theme, color, character. It's something that has to be incorporated into your film in a meaningful way. And that's what it is.
Yeah. So last year's theme was urban legend. Last year's object was a shovel, and the line of dialogue was something that will come to me very soon. But usually, historically, what we've done with the line of dialogue is it's usually been like a movie quote missing a word. So we've had like, we're going to need a bigger blank, all these sort of things. So
me standing here with my blank in my hand.
Yeah. This year, though, we have low key decided that we were going to have 4 surprise elements. And we're throwing a new twist at this competition that we've never thrown before. So we're going to catch everyone with their pants down in a, anyways.
In a supportive way.
In a supportive way. So yeah, you'll have 48 hours. Usually our kickoff meeting ends before 7. So technically you get 48 hours and some change. Basically, you must have the surprise elements in your film. If there is a prop, it has to be on screen for 5 consecutive seconds, and we have to have a character interact with it.
And for judging the surprise elements, like they are the tiebreaker, they are something we encourage judges to look at in conjunction with cinematography and acting, all of that, and really look at like the excellence of films that incorporated the challenge.
Yeah. I think every year for the last 3 years, Best Director has been tied, and the tiebreaker has gone to who's used the elements the best. So every tiebreak happens with because every judge also puts in how well they thought the elements were used, and so it is the tiebreaker usually. So it's worth putting in some love there.
You all, I was going to jump to the next part. You all received, it's called a release form. It basically means you own your film. Run and Gun does not own your film, and you have to turn that in by the time we get to the directors meeting. It has to be received from our coordinators. So show of hands, who's turned in their release form?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, so many people.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, the directors meeting is just mandatory that one person from your team goes. So if your director is, stuck in traffic on their way home from work, just make sure you have someone going there because that's where we're going to establish this year's ground rules and this year's surprise elements. So you really don't want to miss it. We still do record it, so if people need to revisit it to get a clarification, but usually when we pick a surprise element, people will have questions like, oh, can it be used like this, whatever. And we laid the official ground rules live as people poke holes in them. So you want to be there for that. Cool. As far as delivery, yeah.
Oh, do we want to talk about delivery alongside the delivery specs, or just like overview right now and then go into
I'll just do an overview right now. But Skaru, you have a question? Yeah.
Just can more than one person be in the director's meeting, or it has to be only one person?
It can be more than one. We often have teams like all around a camera waiting, which is very cute. Or if your team's in different places, you're welcome to have. That's why we do it YouTube Live, so like anyone can join.
It's just a YouTube link. We did it on Zoom once and we crashed Zoom because too many people went to it. So we have to go to YouTube Live now. I think last year there was, like 300 people or so watching it live at the same time. And apparently Zoom, if you go over like 150 or something like that, it stops working. So we're learning we're learning every year as this behemoth grows. But yeah, on the Sunday competition at 7 p.m., you have to hand in your film. We have that online folder that each team has received. But if you do have some terrible internet or some misfortune, we do have a in-person drop-off point, but we really it makes our lives easier if it's all done digitally. It's an insane day, so if you are having troubles that day, message the Run and Gun help me. Be patient because we usually have it's 150 people, 150 teams handing in films at once. It's pure chaos. We usually have a team of 10 people running that delivery, but we're all full tilt. So if you are messaging us, just know that some patience is needed because it's everywhere at once.
And so just a couple of things to keep in mind. It's a Google Drive upload. Give yourself time to start the upload. Also make sure your Google Drive storage has enough storage for your film. The ownership will switch to us, but last year we had a lot of people who were like, my Google Drive can't do it. And I was like, well, make sure you have some storage to upload your film. And they don't have to be huge files. We'll get into that, but just a couple.
We'll get into that. So yeah, we're going to have those films go straight to the jury. So whatever is handed in at 7 p.m. there is go straight to the jury. But yeah, that being said, there are people that'll take pictures of their uploads and it's going to be 15 more minutes, and we understand that. So we're not monsters, but it's a lot that we're coordinating. If you are late with it, we've had some that deliver the next day or something like that. We'll still play it in the festival, but it will not be in competition for awards, and it will not be eligible to be a finalist or a semi-finalist. So it'll still play, but yeah, we also need to, we have so much work once we get all these films in. So yeah, but you can do any genre at this festival. We have no
yeah, we've had documentaries, we've had animation, we've had stop motion, we've had horror, weird stuff, experimental. It's great.
Yeah, and we really honestly there's 150 films coming in. The things anything that makes your film stand out as original and unique is really going to help you, because it's almost mind-numbing for our jury team. We have about 10 pre-screening jurors who watch every single film, and they score them all, and we average those out to get our top 20, our semifinals 21 to 40, and then everything else gets programmed in those Rio blocks. And then the top films will go to a prize jury that's maybe a little bit more esteemed, and they will look at the films with no credits, because we want to keep things as fair and neutral as possible, and get any potential biases out of the way, and have people just watch films for what they are. and everything is basically decided with math. We don't do deliberations. We want it, because usually if you do jury deliberations, whoever's the loudest person in the room usually gets their own way. And so we want to make sure we're just mathematically fair. It doesn't always mean that my favorite film makes finals, but you know, we try to make it as fair as possible. So this is what kind of needs to be done in the 48 hours. I know you might be seeing people putting up casting notices for films that seem like they're already written and stuff like that. It's not, I mean, if I was to do it myself, I would probably have like 10 ideas that I'm like kind of stoked on that are half baked, and then see how these surprise elements could maybe serve one of them. But in the 48 hours, you're gonna have to write the script with the surprise elements in it. Of course, you don't have to hand in a physical script. So if your script is just you telling your friends what the plan is, that's fine. We're not cops. Costume and set design, you know, figuring out that sort of stuff. You have to shoot it in the 48 hours, edit it in the 48 hours, sound design, render, final output, and delivery. But before the 48 hours, in these next 2.5 weeks or so, or 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3 weeks. I think it's 3 weeks. You can organize your crew, you can lock in some cast, you can get your equipment, you can absolutely like lock a location. I've done this, I've done 24 and 48 hour festivals. And I like to not have any ideas, but I like to have a space and cast. So you know like what you're writing to, and how many players you have. That's how I would do it, but different.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. You're allowed to have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you want to have union actors, you have to lock them in ahead of time and go through the paperwork process.
But it's not super ahead of, it's not like weeks ahead of time anymore. It's up until the Wednesday, or like it's right up until the competition, and UBCP does sponsor all of the insurance for UBCP members, which is great. You don't have to pay to insure them. But keep in mind, the insurer they have to work with is in Ontario, so they're 3 hours ahead. But I believe they let there be leeway, and you can finish your paperwork on Monday, and there's more information on the website. It breaks it down pretty easily.
If you hit the at the top, there's union actors rules. But we also do, each team has been sent links to the crew database and the cast database. There are over 300 actors who are dying to get on Run and Gun team on the actor database. So if you are looking for more actors, and also even on the day, if you think of a really fun idea of bit parts and stuff like that, their contact is there. A lot of the actors are used to the Friday late night call of, hey, you want to come into set tomorrow? That's half the fun of Run and Gun. The only thing is those last minute parts all have to be non-union, because they can't turn it around that fast. Important dates. Well, registration's already open. Woohoo. June 9th to 11th is the Run and Gun weekend. And then July 11th and 13th is the Rio.
12th and 13th.
Oh, 11th, 12th, 13th. Yeah, we added a day. I will fix that on the website.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there'll be double screenings at the Rio of most of the films. And then on July 15th, that's our huge day. It's at the Massey Theater out in New West, which is a very cool space. It used to be a high school, and so there's lots of nooks and crannies. It's a beautiful theater. We do anticipate selling out. Every team will get a ticket.
They get a ticket, yeah. Well, if you are in the finals or semifinals, you get more tickets, but each team gets each team gets 2 complimentary tickets to their own screening, and a complimentary ticket to the finals and after party. And it is always a good time. The party goes very late, and we know how. That's one thing we know how to do. Eligibility, filmmakers of all ages. This is, I mean, one of our big important things about this festival is that it is open for everyone. You know, there's a lot of events out there that have a lot of restrictions of who's allowed to apply and what have you. And this is really an excuse for everyone to create. But the team leader must be a resident of British Columbia, and it must be shot in BC. So if hopefully that doesn't blow up your plans or whatever. We are open to all sorts of artistic expression, but like I said, we don't have any, we have no content restriction rules. We trust our viewers, but we've also had some, you know, films in the past that have had nudity, gratuitous violence, all that sort of stuff. That's kind of the charm of Run and Gun sometimes. So we will make sure that we label each screening with a content warning, and then you'll have an idea of what you're getting into. But we do, I mean, we just love it when people go a little bit wild for Run and Gun. We like the unhinged.
And honestly,
And
last year, so there are a lot of people hire child actors between, like, let's say 7 and 10. And last year, the very front row at the Matthew was just a whole row of all these 9-year-olds watching some like real adult content, and they loved it. I loved every second of it. It's very fun, and their parents were there. The parents okayed it, anyways. If you skip down, we can talk about stuff like stock footage and
music and all that sort of stuff. So
Star has a question.
So we were going over like what to do prior and during the competition, but I noticed that we have to have a short video, 30 seconds, explaining the team and stuff. When does that has to be on the drive?
We like to get it when you deliver your film. Ideally, it's something you do like as you're writing, or like as people are taking like a quick minute to eat, or like when they wrap as like, oh, woo, we're this team and whatever. But if it's too crazy, we like the week after is usually when our team will start going to all of your teams and going, we need this, this, and this, and send it to us then. But yeah, it doesn't have to be a complicated thing. It's just for us to use as part of like social media and promotion and
and trailers and stuff like that. We kind of, the BTS stuff and all that sort of stuff is really just so we can anything that we can help hype up the screening. You know, we want everyone to feel like rock stars, and it's hype is really an important aspect of Run and Gun. And so anything that you can give us to help hype up the event, we appreciate.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have 48 hours.
Pardon?
It doesn't have to be within the 48 hours. It can be a little bit after, like to submit it.
Yeah, for sure. Usually it's like a cell phone video on set where someone's like, I'm so and you know, we're team so and so, and our film is called this, and like that's like literally what we get from it. So,
but we've also had people do like full behind the scenes documentary style and submit it. There's one team that comes to mind. They did like a 5-minute doc on making their 5-minute film. It was funny, anyways.
Yeah, and we love that stuff. And you're also good to post that sort of stuff. We don't want you to post the whole film ahead of the competition, because we love every screening being just jam-packed of world premieres. But if you have some stuff that you want to post to hype up the screenings, like we love that. We're not restrictive of that sort of stuff.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So
I was just gonna tell people. Okay. You can have up to 10 seconds of like any previously shot film, like, you know, beautiful orcas surfacing, but it can only be 10 seconds of your film. It doesn't all have to be together either. We've had people use like little clips.
Yeah, so sometimes maybe you might have like a nice drone establishing shot that you want to throw into your film or something like that. That's cool. It's a 10 seconds max. One year someone decided to make a sequel to the movie The Departed, and they used 10 seconds of that film sparingly throughout. You know, we like, you know, we want people to just be creative. This is really just an excuse to create stuff. So you can do 10 seconds of stuff that you've built ahead of time or that you've licensed, but everything else has to be shot in the time of the competition.
Music, there are so many composers. We were at the My Tribe event last night, and I think like 3 composers pitched themselves. There's so many composers who want to work on this, and they can make they can like use something from their library. So we encourage you to create music and find cool people that are making music and use that. But also, we just sort of assume that anything that's in your film you have cleared, and we don't really question it. But a film festival is not our night.
Yeah, so you know, it's your responsibility. We just assume that you have all the rights and we're going to play it. if for some reason the artist happens to be in the room and they're upset, you'll have to deal with them. Cool. Prizes. So we have a whole bunch of awards and prizes each year. And of course, we have the famous run and gun plaques, aka the runnies. The prize pool is usually based on the number of entries and sponsors, and basically each prize has either a cash attached to it, rental credits, some sort of free stuff.
Yeah, we like to do a mix of cool things from the industry and gear houses and like useful things for making more movies, but also like, Backcountry is one of our sponsors and they always do a cool prize pack for a couple of the prizes. It has like a gift card, like that kind of stuff. So it's a nice mix. And then yeah, every prize comes with cash, because what's easier to split than $20 bills?
Yeah. But yeah, we do an awards at the end. We try to keep it brief because no one likes being at long award ceremonies. So anyone who speaks over a minute will be played off. So if you start writing your speech now and practice it so you can get it done in a minute when you win.
Our jury, I have a question.
Go for it. I think it was just an echo of yourself. I don't know why it was doing that.
That's fine. Our jury, we pull at least 50% of it from outside Vancouver, if not more. It's all industry professionals. We try and get people who have either or both a very robust film background, or have a good spread of like people who have a strong acting background, people who have a strong technical background. We chop off the credits of all our finalists so they don't know whose film it is. And as Joel alluded to earlier, we have a numerical rating system. There's no deliberation. It's very fair.
Yeah. So yeah, we just are a big fan. We're not jurors. We're referees, not jurors. So, which is fun because then I can, I'm never responsible for someone not winning stuff, which is nice. Tech specs. Okay, so we do want a high bitrate file, but we don't want like 8K files or anything like that. So basically the tech specs of our locations is the Rio plays our films in 2K. So 2K is ideal there. The Rio Theater's natural screen size, if we use the entire screen, is a 2:3:5:1 ratio. So if you are shooting scope, it fills out the screen. If you're shooting 4:3, you get big black boxes on the side, and just kind of work your way in between there. We can take any size. We had one a couple years ago that was mostly vertical, which is fine. It just most of the screen is not going to get used. Yeah, and then at the Massey, it's a nice projector, but it's 1080p. So don't give us massive files. Don't give us teeny files. Ideally, we'll get into our checklist in a bit, but we want, ProRes is kind of the best for us if you can. And we'll talk about delivery as we go. So the big delivery things to think about are your film has to be under 4 minutes and 30 seconds, including the credits. So do your best to make sure people are credited. But yeah, 4:30 is kind of that sweet spot, so we can get up to 20 films in a screening without having it being super long and boring. The good thing about 4 minute, 30-second films is if you don't like one, it'll be over soon enough.
Also, people do submit shorter films too, like especially the people who do stop motion or animation. They're often a bit shorter, but yeah. We also go ahead,
sorry, and those ones we can often fit in and bump up because they're so short. So there is an advantage there to making a shorter film, because if we're mostly full for the finals, we can be like, oh, but we could actually fit this 2-minute film in there because we have that much time. So who knows?
Although the finals are decided by the highest rated films, we don't.
No, but if it's like 21st place or something like that, we could potentially put one more in. Yeah, I mean, if it has to be on that edge already, so it's a really, really small chance that it would help you, but it's something.
Before you shoot, it's actually the release form shouldn't be part of the delivery checklist. We need that before they shoot. That's before.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
before.
Completed submission survey. We're going to go over that in just a moment. 16:9 screenshot of your film to be used in the program. So even if you didn't shoot 16:9, that's how our program's being laid out. So just make something of that size, and that's going to be what plays, what's going to go on the program, the website, etc. I do recommend making sure it's a pretty bright and contrasty image, because we're going to be printing it. People pick the darkest, terrible image of their film. If you're unsure if it's not a good image, submit like 3 and we'll pick one. But we want to make sure that these are what we're going to be using to help advertise for your film and your screening. So put a lot of care in what image helps show people and attract people to your film.
One BTS clip, which we already kind of talked about, introducing your film. One BTS clip, like a making of. Sometimes the BTS clip and the team intro are like the same file, which is fine, or they can be different ones.
Yeah, but if you're doing something really cool with your film, maybe there's like a crazy gag that's going to have lots of blood, or maybe there's some sort of funny set piece or costume or something like that, or an insane makeup job, like whatever is like the most interesting thing about your film. Try to get a BTS clip of that so we can use that to help promote your film. Cool. By entering a film, this is the fine print. Basically, you still own your film. There is an option if you want it to be on our YouTube channel. We can make that available after the thing. Each film will play once live, and we will have them available to watch for free for 1 week, and then we pull it all down, and then you can do whatever you want with your film. We just want it to be as accessible as possible, and it's really exciting. I love the fact that a week after the film, people get a chance to watch it again. It's really what helps build community, because someone can pause on the credits and be like, who was the person who did visual effects? I need that person, whatever. Oh, that's not the one I worked on then, Sasha, but we'll.
You can figure it out. Submission.
Oh yeah. All right. Is that the end of that list? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, then it's just
liability. It's your film. You're responsible for things. If you go around punching people in the face, we're not responsible. That's on you. So just don't punch people in the face or do anything too reckless. Yeah, we don't. We've been really lucky to have Run and Gun be what it is, but if too much trouble is caused, I feel like that's something we're gonna have to deal with. So don't cause too much trouble. Cool. So yeah, our delivery checklist. There's a submission form, the 30, all those things that we talked about. As far as the technical like names, we like film name _ team name .mov or whatever it may be. Ideally 1080p or 2K, although we can take 720p or whatever. We just don't love the giant files. Aspect ratio, whatever you want, but wider aspect ratios will fill up more of the screen. So if you
when
want,
we play at the Rio, we use the CinemaScope, like the really big screen, the really wide, long screen. So if you do shoot 4:3, just keep in mind it's going to be a really tiny. It's going to be a smaller image for people to see on that screen. Not that you can't shoot 4:3.
That being said, the screen at the Massey is 16:9, so we'll make them work. So yeah, we do either ProRes 422 or an MP4 of best quality or something like that. We are going to be delivering 23.98 or 24. We are the projector plays 23.987. So if you do shoot 60p or 30p, we will be pulling it down to 24p. Does that make sense to everyone?
I was just going to ask if that sounds like gibberish to anyone.
Okay. Yeah. As much as you might be fans of the new Avatar movie, we're just not able to there's not a projector that we're using that can keep up to the bit rate we want at 48 frames or anything like that. So we're gonna, and then audio. I mean, this is something I'm going to try to hit again in our kickoff meeting. So this is like a little bit complicated, but ideally someone on your team knows what these things are. But you want the maximum loudest part of your film to hit -3. Nothing above that, nothing to the red, because that means that we have to deal with it. And you want your dialogue to be hitting around -12. Okay, so hopefully I'll go into that a little bit more in our kickoff meeting, because last year we had to spend a lot of labor and time and money on making your films watchable, and that's a pain in the ass for us. So
that being said, we do have an audio engineer who levels all of the films and makes sure they're playable and no one's going to be deaf. And what he's really doing is he takes our screenings and makes sure that one film isn't very loud and one film isn't very quiet. So it's a mediuming of your film, but if your film is too quiet, there's not much he can work with. So just
yeah, so find that happy medium. I mean, the biggest thing that we see a lot of is the dialogue being really quiet for a film and every song being massive, blow out your ears. So I highly recommend finding yourself a post nerd. When you submit, you also have to hit up the submission form, and this does take a little bit of time. Ideally, you want to have a producer or not your editor or someone who's slept kind of dealing with this, and you can really be starting to work on this earlier on in the process if you want. So when you're submitting your form, we need to have all the data for your film so we can cross-reference and make sure that everything's organized correctly. So it's pretty easy. Your email, what's the title of the film? That should, this is why you got to do this at delivery, because at that point you should have a title. What's your team name?
Sorry to interrupt you. Can you bring up the view that is not the creating view, that is like the view that they'll all see?
The only problem is I can't go to multiple. I won't be able to go to the next page unless I fill it out.
That's fine.
It's fine. It looks like this, except it doesn't have the responses thing. But it'll be like this: title of your film, your team name. If you don't like your team name right now and you want to change it to delivery, this is when you do it. You just put in a new team name there and then let us know that this is a different team name than the one you signed up under. That should be an alternate box, not a check both. I'll fix that. Team number. You've all been given team numbers. Those are super important for us to stay organized, because if you're changing your team name or your team leaders, all that sort of stuff, we need the number to be consistent. So that'll be your order number, and the same number as your folder. Team leader's name. I mean, the big thing, the team leader is like usually like just our contact person. So if it ends up being a producer, a director, a really eager actor or whatever, it's not an official title that, you get all the glory as a team person. It's just you're our liaison, basically. Emergency contacts, you want these to be someone who can deal with film delivery, because this is usually you fucked up, and that's why we're contacting you, because we're going to be watching everything and going through it. So these contacts is who can fix the problem is really who we want these contacts to be. Page 2. This is where things get I just can put it doesn't matter there. Okay, so you're gonna have to put a short synopsis in. That's 250 characters max, aka letters, with not 250 words. These are just a little blurb, kind of like what you would see on Netflix or whatever. So if it's Almost Famous, a teenager posing as a journalist tours the country with a rock band and learns about love and life. Boom, easy peasy. Running time, let us know the exact time of your film. Time calculations are a big part of just us programming and what have you, and it's really nice to do this. This just also helps us kind of look at things. What genre best describes your film? We're not locking you into it. We're not going to be putting beside it like your genre or whatever. This is just us when we're thinking about programming and stuff like that. It just helps us on a micro level. This also helps us because we do a few all ages screenings, but we also do a couple like more 19. We have a few 19 plus screenings. So just give yourself a basic rating. So G, everyone can watch. There's nothing that could frighten or do anything that they would upset a child or someone who's ultra sensitive. PG, you know, maybe at one point you say damn or shit, but beyond that, you know, it's minimal. Any violence is kind of cartoony, nothing overtly sexual. 14A, you know, pretty much whatever swear words, but you know, you got some inappropriate content for kids, violence, minor gore, minimal nudity, some sexually suggestive stuff. And then if you're going to go for an 18 or R, you know, heavy swearing, adult content, hella gore, overt nudity, overt sexual content. You know, if you're checking off those boxes, it just lets us know. So we don't have any censorship rules. We just want to kind of prepare ourselves accordingly and organize ourselves. And also any content or trigger warnings, you know, as we've expanded, there have been sometimes there's the odd film that just kind of, you know, someone has certain sensitivities, and we want to make sure that people kind of know ahead of time of what we're up against. And for us, it's just a lot easier if you just let us know. So these are no knocks against you, but we know that there are people that do have certain things that they just get incredibly uncomfortable. We don't want anyone to get uncomfortable. So suicide has been one that's struck nerves, eating disorders, sexual violence, all that sort of stuff. We don't control your content, but it's just kind of nice to have that idea. Then you'll basically go in with your producers, contact, director, all that sort of stuff. It's all pretty simple. You're basically putting these credits in, and these are just basically, so if one of these people gets nominated for an award, we can contact them. We have the correct spelling. We can get them to know all that information. So try to do your best with this sort of stuff, because it's really, we need this stuff, you know, spelled correctly and all that sort of stuff if we are going to do nomination announcements. So the bar has been set this year. The Leos have maximum amount of spelling mistakes in their nominations, and we got to do better. So yeah, so fill these all in. If you don't have someone for certain roles, maybe you don't have a makeup artist or something like that, it's okay. You can just leave it blank. Some of these are mandatory, so just whoever you think is closest to it, you know, just go through them all. Do you want your film to be up on the YouTube archive? Did anyone under the age of 19 work on your film? This kind of helps us when we're planning the screenings of what's 19 plus, and we want everyone to be able to see their film. Although sometimes the most fucked up ones have kids in them, and we try to do our best to figure out good judgment calls. If a youth submission, what level of school are you in? Just gives us that information. And then this is the additional info. This is really the stuff that we need to let our sponsors know and all that sort of stuff. So how many people worked on your film total? Whether it's a one-liner, I'm gonna mute that. Whether it's a one-liner or anything like that, just give us a number of totals. It's really, I mean, last 2 years we had over 1,300 people participate in the one weekend, which is madness. So right now we're in the middle of trying to get Telefilm to sponsor us for next year. So
sorry, I was gonna say, it's also good to give all the gear houses a heads up each year of like, okay, you're gonna be picked clean again this weekend, and they all know. And yeah, but yes, we are also trying to get sponsorship from, you know, our government, and that's a good thing to show them how they'll participate.
And we're, believe it or not, looking at already moving to a bigger venue for next year, because we just keep growing too fast. God help us. Yeah, and then just other metadata that just helps us. Did you use the Run and Gun Facebook group or crew list to find team members? That's been a really helpful thing. If you aren't on that Facebook group, you should do it. It's a really community-based group. Did you use the actors database to find actors? You know, just finding out how is that working out? And then basically, did you use any of our sponsors, gear or something like that? Union Actors, Front Row Insurance, Caveman Cafe for catering, Nuba, they all have deals. You've all been sent a deal sheet for all these places. I think, yeah, Sparky's has great deals, William F. White, all that sort of stuff. Right now, because the industry is slower, they're more in let's hook up indie filmmakers mood. So take it while you can. If you have any feedback, this is an ongoing thing with UBCP, just trying to find out how to do it properly with this festival. So it's just nice sometimes to have that data and to be able to communicate so we can make sure it's as smooth as possible. Anything that you particularly like or dislike, you know, as if you know in this festival for a long time, we are not afraid to adapt and grow and change. We always look at this data, and if we see reoccurring themes, we will start to find ways to make things better. We are not stagnant as a film festival. Our rules are jello. First time participating, it's good to know that if you want to participate again. And then finally, do you want to be notified about future competitions, aka do you want to be on our mailing list? We don't send out that many emails. It's like 5 a year, maybe 8. So yeah, that's pretty much the information. Is there something I'm missing, Sasha, or?
No, I think that was a good overview. Are there
Yeah. I see a question.
Yes. Hi, I'm a union actress, but I'm coming into this as a director for a youth submission. Do I need to clear with the union to direct?
No,
No,
but they'll be,
okay.
yeah, it's only if you're performing.
Okay.
That being said, the youth submissions, the director has to be you.
Okay.
So we might have to.
No, I got it. I get it. That was part of my next question. So can I be an assistant director and co-creator?
It would just so the main issue is we're getting feedback. Sorry, I'm gonna mute you for a second, and you can unmute. Oh, here, I'll mute you for a second. Oh, you just okay. So the thing with the youth category is it is supposed to be for generally youth filmmakers, so like high schoolers and middle schoolers and stuff competing. So we love the idea of having teams that have both involved, and we've had some really awesome teams. One of my favorite finalists a few years ago was a father-daughter team, and they killed it. It was wonderful. So we can kind of offline this, but to be eligible to win the best youth film award, it's really only what we have basically in our bylaws is that it only cast can be outside of that youth category. So we can figure out kind of how we can talk about yours and after this and find a way, because I mean regardless it's in competition, but it might not be quite categorized as a youth film, and I can have Sasha follow up with you on that. Yeah, we got some other questions. We'll figure that one out and make sure that all works. Here we go. Just a very dumb question. Do I need to email the release form or upload it to the folder? You can do either way. Email is nice because then our team definitely knows that it's there. And the email to use is the help me one that you've been receiving emails from. We have a team of 3 filmmaker coordinators that are dealing with all the individual team stuff. And then the other run and gun email address, the rngfestival@gmail.com, is more of the one that Sasha and I are doing for more the planning of the fest and all that sort of stuff. So anything filmmaker coordination wise, do the help me one. And Sasha has now put that one in the comments there. Yeah. Anyone else have questions? Cool. But yeah, no, we're really excited. I mean, this is, I'm just a big, oh, here we go. The run and gun submission form you just went over. We fill this as we're uploading our final film to the drive. Yeah, around that time. It's part of the main delivery thing. So usually, when you've picture locked your film and you're someone who's just fixing up color and sound, like that's a good time to do it. Or while you're exporting, it's good to just make sure you're already making your own crew list. I mean, just in general, you're going to be so tired when you make credits for your film. So building that stuff ahead of time and just making sure you've got that is really important. The number one thing that we get the next day after run and gun is people realizing that they've fucked up their credits and begging to resubmit. So really, put just write it down as you're going, because you may not have full capacity at that point. But yeah, try to find someone organized in your group that's like a little less, elbow deep in post to go over that. I mean, it really only takes like 10 minutes or so, or 8 minutes, but it is a tedious little thing if you're trying to desperately export.
Okay,
Cool.
I have that was
Yeah.
brought up. What if you accidentally tried to get over it and just like started filling it up and then went to the second page accidentally and noticed that it had to be like afterwards? Can I refill it?
Yeah, I mean, try your best to just do. I mean, it won't let you go to the second page until all the mandatory fields are checked off. So it kind of forces you. It's just the non-mandatory fields you can skip past.
Okay, but I can like go again for the first page because I by accident, like, you know how it says one response in there?
Yeah. Fair. We'll probably clear it right before the competition weekend, because we've had people be like, this is the name of our film, this and that, and it's like, dude, we haven't even given out the surprise elements. Chill. So definitely that's a delivery thing.
Amazing.
But we need that data to process your film and get it out to the jury and all that sort of stuff. So it's a lot. Trust me, for us, we get very overwhelmed in that delivery Sunday, but it's exciting. We have pizza and we're having it's a big war room. Yeah. Cool. Well, it's going to be a fun year. I'm really excited. Really can't wait. How many judges do we have? We're still padding it out, but generally what we try to get is for the pre-screenings of who gets into finals, semifinals, all that sort of stuff. We try to have around 8 to 10 judges for that. All people that weren't involved and stuff like that. And then jurors for the prizes. We kind of aim in that like anywhere from like 5 to 7, right?
Yeah, I think the most we've had is 7, but 5 is, I don't know. Joel and I have run a lot of juries for not just these events. 5 is a good number.
Yeah, 5 is definitely always our minimum though. So we wouldn't do less than that, just because we want to equal it out. Yeah. Cool.
Well, see everyone on June 9th.
Yeah, and
you'll see us.
And then if you want to email us about the youth submission, we can kind of maybe find a solution we're all kind of stoked on. It's just, yeah, it's a tough one, just because we've had like in the past, it's like a high schoolers versus adults and stuff. We're really trying to figure out exactly how we can make that work, because we love the idea of people working together and what have you. But yeah, it's we'll find that perfect balance. Cool. Well, enjoy your.
Wait, Joel, wait.
Joel. Yeah.
Just to clarify. So the youth submission, just quickly, because I know I'm gonna have to talk to her immediately. Can she be the creator direct? You don't want the crew to be youth, right? She can still have a DOP and sound editors and stuff like that, or is it all youth?
With our
ideally,
sorry, can you mute? Go ahead, Joel.
Ideally, we want to. It is a category like really meant for youth filmmakers and their teams of youth to have a chance to showcase and stuff like that, because there really isn't many opportunities for youth to get a chance to showcase their talent to the larger BC film industry and stuff like that. So for us, the main aspect of that is, and like I started filmmaking in 48-hour film competitions in high school, and so for me it's always been really important to make sure that I pass that on. So it doesn't, like, your film is still absolutely part of the festival, and like you can have that pro DP, all that sort of stuff, but when we have teams that are fully high school and middle school type thing, and they're editing and shooting it and all that sort of stuff, we want it to be fair for them. So you're like, we still want you to make this film however you are, but it's kind of tough when you have like, you know, full high school team losing to a team that has like, you know, an industry DP or something like that. So we're just trying to do our best to give an underdog chance there. But I know, but we do love these films that you know, bridge that gap. And yeah, like I said, one of my favorites was a father-daughter co-directed film, and we still want those kinds of films. Sasha, do you have anything to add?
No, I think if you want to chat to the youths or youth in your life that you're doing it with, we can figure something that makes sense. But yeah, to echo what Joel said, it's just the youth. It's more about the competition of youth films, and those are all like, it's usually a group of high school students or middle school students.
Yeah, and we put all the films together in these screenings, so there's always like college films and youth films and general films thrown together. We don't really segregate or give anyone different treatment. The only thing is that changes is the awards adjudication, right, for the youth films. Like it's still in the general awards category, but we have that extra category of like what is the best youth film here, and that it's really only actors outside of the youth or drivers, because that often is the role that gets thrown to an adult. Cool. All right. Perfect. You can DM us for sure, and we'll figure out something there. But yeah, we'll see you out on the road. We got about 3 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks till we're in this. So get your crew together, test your camera equipment, test your workflow. The biggest reason why people have not delivered on time over the last 2 years has been because they've shot 8K. That's literally the number one reason why people, you know, they'll spend an entire day having to get their film, their footage processed, and then they realize it's going to take like 5 hours to export and all that sort of stuff, and they don't get to start editing their film till the Sunday night. So make sure you know what your computer's capable, what your camera's capable of, and practice just exporting something and having an idea of what it's going to take. Beyond that, let the Hunger Games begin. We'll see you all soon.
Hi, everyone.